Dímelo mi mundo, and welcome back to Boss It Up Media, where we empower entrepreneurs each and every day on all our episodes. And I'm here with Lisa Garcia and Dawn Acevedos on site at
Cafe Rubio. So this is the first time we have an on-site podcast. We're excited about it. We have a new guest. Make sure to, come on and check us out.
This is going to be so much fun, guys. I mean, we are excited about every episode that we're bringing to you. But this one is special. This one is, we have the privilege of sharing with Councilman Francisco Moya, who is a great friend and great person and a great councilman. He serves the Queens District and just a phenomenal person all around. I can't say enough good things. He went to high school with Lisa, so Lisa has made the connection to bring him into all of our lives. And we're super grateful because he's the definition of bossing it up. I mean, he really is. When you guys hear his story and his achievements, I mean, it's something to be so proud of, And as a girl born and raised in Queens, like, it excites me.
Yeah.
You can take me out of Queens, but you can't take Queens out of me. So
on this episode, we're just gonna get to know Francisco, but I think that we're gonna try to do something else with him later on, as far as like his hobbies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
To really get to know him in the future. But there's a lot Francisco has to offer and show you guys. So, and he's a great and fun friend.
And this location, I mean, this is the first time we're out of the studio. We're on, out location with the whole team. So I'm loving this. This is like a different feel to Boss It Up. But this is something that I think that we should continue to do in the future too. So, I mean, if you're an establishment that wants to be highlighted and you would like us to come to you on location and host a show and highlight your business, please reach out to us. We want to hear from you and do more of this.
Yeah.
So let's schedule you in. Let's go.
Yes. Yes, definitely. Thank you, Cafe Rubio. Thank you, Latino Mix, for coming on location and traveling with us. You are also super phenomenal for being able to just set up here like this. I feel like
quick, so fast, right?
Yeah, so fast, so professional.
Service here is amazing.
Yeah, and Cafe Rubio, the food. Oh my God, it's the first time I'm here, to be honest.
No, and make sure you come on like Thursday nights, Friday nights. They have bands, they have people performing.
You won't regret it.
Yes, it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of dancing. And the food, exceptional. So make sure you make your way over here.
Yes, definitely.
So we'll take a quick break and we'll bring Francisco Moya on the set with us.
No importa la temperatura, no importa la hora. Latino Mix está contigo a todas horas.
Welcome back to Boss It Up Media, where we're here having some drinks of food at Cafe Rubio. And we have the privilege of having Councilman Francisco Moya of Queens with us. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me. Yes, thank you.
And just a quick bio on him. He has an extensive resume, so get ready. I'm just going to read a couple of his accomplishments. In 2003, Francisco was named secretary to the Senate for Senate Minority Leader David A. Patterson and became the highest ranking Latino in state government. Also in 2010, Francisco was elected to represent the 39th Assembly District, making him the first Ecuadorian American to be elected public officer in the United States of American history. And as a fierce advocate for immigrant rights, Francisco wrote and introduced the New York State DREAM Act in 2013. Governor Andrew Cuomo signed his bill into law in 2019. And Dawn will continue his accomplishments.
Yes, I'm really excited about these additional 3. Throughout his years in the Assembly, Francisco has been a champion for the working class families, fighting to pass legislation that would preserve union rights, improve the workplace safety, and strengthen worker protections. He also successfully passed legislation to stop employment agencies from robbing low-income families of hundreds of unfulfilled finder's fees. And then Francisco shined a spotlight on the epidemic of construction deaths. That's why he wrote Carlos's Law and repeatedly blocked efforts to repeal the scaffold law in efforts to provide workers with the basic protections that they need and deserve. Governor Kathy Hochul recently signed this bill into law. And as a community organizer, assemblyman, and now a city council member, Moya has been a stalwart champion for immigrant and working class New Yorkers, continuously fighting to improve the quality of life for his community. Francisco, we know you as a friend, not only a councilman, And we see you continuously fight for your community, and you impress us daily. So we want to thank you for coming on. Thank you for being a part of the show. Thank you for inspiring your communities.
Thank you.
So we have a couple of questions. We're going to have a little fun and a good
Yeah.
conversation here. It's not too serious. We're
Yeah.
going to relax and enjoy ourselves. So I know, Lisa, you have an opening question for Francisco.
Well, you've had so many accomplishments, and I can't even imagine. I would like to know kind of how you feel about these accomplishments when they've happened. For example, like the DREAM Act. You passed it in 2013. I mean, no, you presented in 2013. It was passed in 2019.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
Well, first, thank you all for having me. I really appreciate it. It's always great when, you're surrounded by really good people that share, we're like-minded as well and doing great things for our community. So thank you for having me here. Look, I think when we set out to do anything in life, it's you fight to the very end, right? So these are long roads for a lot of the successes that I've had, right? I think it's been a real honor and a privilege to serve the community I was born and raised in. I bought the house I grew up in. There's a real investment in making sure that what I do as a public official has long-lasting impacts on the community that I still live in, right, and represent.
So wait a second. You brought the house that you were born and raised in? That's amazing.
Yeah.
You had you stay into the same community. That's great.
Look, my dad came here, he was 17 years old, Ecuadorian immigrant, no money in his pocket, but he had a desire to succeed. He had a dream of becoming an architect. And, he knew he couldn't get the education that he could get, back home. He had to come here. When he came here, he actually got drafted and went and served in Vietnam. And when he came back, it's a funny story. This is how we wound up being in Corona. And then we'll go to answer the same question that you asked me. All comes full circle.
Exactly.
He came back. The World's Fair was happening in Flushing Meadows Corona Park. He was walking through the Great Lawn. He had his nice, army uniform, nice and pressed. So the most beautiful woman he's ever seen, in his life, crossed right by him, went over and said hello, and the rest is history. That's where he met my mom. They actually knew each other in Ecuador. And then met,
Full circle.
Yeah, full circle. And when we were living together, it was, my aunt was on the first floor and we were living on the second floor. My dad worked two jobs. He worked as a clerk at a bank on Wall Street called Bankers Trust, which no longer exists. And he sold shoes at night at Alexander's on Main Street. Yeah, Alexander's.
We're aging ourselves.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And look, it was through the GI Bill that he was able to go to college for free. And he went to the City University of New York, and he graduated. Dad graduated with honors. And he worked his way up. When he retired as the first vice president of Merrill Lynch. I always say it's not bad for
What an accomplishment, seriously.
a young Ecuadorian immigrant that comes to this country with a dream to succeed. And
he fought for his country too.
Yeah.
I mean, he fights for his country and he comes and he makes his dreams come true. That's beautiful.
And I think, that's what he always taught me, right? It was more of education is key, right? They can take away the house, the car, the clothes off your back. The one thing they can't take away from you is your education. And he always those are the things that always stuck with me. And, when you see the things that were happening for a lot of young, undocumented children, not being able to have the potential to go to college, to get an education, like here in New York, if you go to public school, it's paid for, right? All the way to high school. But at the most critical moment of a young person's academic career and their life, which is, going to college, we're said, no. And so what the DREAM Act did was really opened up the doors for a lot of these young immigrants this is not a handout. They're not getting free money here. They have to apply and compete like everyone else. The only difference is one has a Social Security and the other one doesn't. It's not taking away any money from anyone else. And when you have the climate that we had at the time in 2013, I remember, I couldn't get 5 Democrats to stand with me on this. It was that controversial. And the debates would go on for hours and hours, and you build momentum, and you never stop giving up. You know that you have to organize, and you have to put pressure on other elected officials, on the governor, to make sure that this passes. And it takes a long time, and I've come to realize that nothing is overnight in government, but you just don't give up. And so I think that's one of the main reasons why it's so satisfying that after so many years of fighting and struggling, and you take my own family's immigrant experience, and you champion that through like this legislation that's going to truly, help and impact, so many lives of so many undocumented kids. That I think it's just been one of the biggest highlights of my career, to see that come to fruition.
Such a blessing to so many. And I think it's so important that people have conversations like this, because they don't know, that like you just explained, it's they still have to work for it.
Yeah.
It's not a free handout by any means, and it's just a great opportunity. There's so many people, because higher education is key to really having substantial careers. So I think what we talk about here is how people boss it up, and I think you've helped so many kids boss it up in their education, in aspects of their lives.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you for that.
It's the land of opportunity, and you need to have that opportunity.
Yeah.
You don't. And why, what makes it, the purpose to come to America. So
It's key. It's a critical moment, right? If you look at it just from the financial aspect of this, right? You want more kids to get educated. You want more kids to have an opportunity, to build a better pathway, to have a better job, as opposed to cutting it short, where then you see they're not going to have the same opportunities without having higher education as a qualifier for them, right? And this is a real investment that we make to better the generation that's coming up. It's a smart investment for the state of New York, and I'm happy that the state of New York is one of the trailblazers of doing this nationally, and really focusing in on how we can better the lives of so many young people that are living here right now in the state of New York.
So I have a little bit of a personal question with respect to that.
Yeah.
We face challenges. Everybody can relate. I think everybody faces challenges in every attempt of something that they try to do in life. With this specific DREAM Act, because it took a few years to achieve, during that time when you were faced with the no's and the pushback, how did you keep yourself motivated to say, no, I'm not going to give up on this. I want to keep pushing until this is passed. Yeah. Like, what advice would you give to someone that's trying to do something similar?
Well, look, I think it's a lot of this is also, the belief in what you're doing, right? Like, to me, this was truly personal. And it was not just some regular bill. We were taking this on. We didn't take on, like I said, the issue was not a popular issue, even amongst Democrats at the time. One of the things that I was able to do very well with some of my colleagues, that from the Democratic side of the Assembly, was to start building bridges with my Republican colleagues from upstate. And one of the things that I did was, at the end of session, after we debate all these things and say, argue for money that goes where, downstate, upstate, there's a big battle. I went up to a few of my colleagues and I was like, look, I said, I'd love to invite you to come down to New York. You can bring me 10 of your colleagues, come to New York, because I want to show you how kids are learning in my school.
That's so smart.
So I said, I want you to see and go to areas, not just in Queens, but go to the Bronx to see NYCHA housing and see the conditions that people are living in. Come see the difference. The issue with me was I got kids learning in trailers in a school, PS19 in Corona. Upstate, where you go to Long Island, you got full gymnasiums, you got full football fields, music rooms, art, all those things. It's until you can have them see this, talk to dreamers, come down here, talk to these immigrant children. And I'll tell you, there was not a dry eye in that room when they met with these kids, when they saw that for the first time ever, they're walking in and saying, oh my God, how are these kids learning in a trailer? And I said, by the way, you know what time they eat lunch? At 9:30, because it's one of the most overcrowded schools in the city of New York. So lunchtime has to be at 9:30.
That's insane to me.
And then we went upstate. We looked at some of their issues, talked to the business community, and it started a tradition of every year we would go up to a different part of the state. They would come down. We would do many great things. And, at the end, they were very, very understanding and sympathetic to the cause. And you start building bridges, you start building commonalities. You have to look at every avenue in which you can to, achieve the goal that you're setting out to achieve. So it's a lot of work. It's looking at what are the ways that we can make this happen. And I was fortunate enough to really have some great relationships with some of my colleagues from the other side of the aisle. And, it brought a lot of pressure in from the grassroots community to make that happen and finally got signed into law.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. It's a lot of perseverance to connect the dots to make that happen.
Yeah.
And to achieve bills at the same time, since you said it takes a long time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna run slow, so I'm glad that you were able to accomplish that for the Dream Act.
Thank you.
And keep pushing. And keep pushing. He doesn't stop pushing. He really doesn't.
And
And keeps giving back.
that, the way to get to someone's mind to help them make the correct decision is to reach their heart.
Yeah.
And I think by showing them the difference, that really was really
Very
smart
Yeah.
tactic. Oh, I'm loving this.
Yeah.
I love hearing all things back. I think this is a perfect time. Let's take a break. We have a couple more questions for you, but we'll take a break and we'll be right back.
Thank you.
No importa la temperatura, no importa la hora. Latino Mix está contigo a todas horas.
Welcome back to Boss It Up Media. We are here with Francisco Moya, Councilman of Queens. We are at Cafe Rubio. We are enjoying our time here. We had some great food before, so let's get back to our conversation. We're going to have some fun now, all right? I mean, we have fun hearing about everything that you do in the legal aspect, but now we want to hear about a little bit more about your passion. Sure. What's coming up.
So tell me, Francisco, who is your favorite soccer team? Just
Oh, I mean, that's an easy one. It's FC Barcelona. Red and blue runs through my veins.
so that's your second home.
That's my second home.
Yeah.
I think like every Latino from South America, Central America, I was born with a soccer ball in my crib, and my love for the sport has been since I played my whole life, and the beauty of that game and just seeing some of the greatest players to play the game and see it live, it's just been absolutely fantastic.
Oh, what's funny to me is, okay, so if I was to be like, let's go to Madrid.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely. I travel to Spain a lot because Barcelona is my team. I've been going there. I go twice a year to watch them play. There's a big game between the arch rivals, which is Barcelona and Real Madrid. Mm-hmm. I've traveled everywhere in Spain except one city, and that's Madrid. And I will never step foot in Madrid ever.
Man, watch out if you're a Real Madrid fan.
Don't come and say hello. Yeah.
And you said you played also.
I played.
Like you hit your head. You'll hit the soccer ball.
I think that's what led me to choose the career of politics. My brain wasn't working that well if I hit that ball too much.
See this in action.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not anymore, but
Well, with your friend Marcos, we had said we would probably take a trip to Madrid, and you said that the only way you'd go to Madrid is if we have a wheelchair for you waiting outside.
I said my feet will never touch the floor, never step foot in Madrid. So if anyone was ever going to take me to Madrid to see a game, you'd have to meet me at the tarmac where the plane lets the passenger and put me in a wheelchair so my feet never touch the ground.
Man.
Yeah.
That's not even the ground yet.
It doesn't matter. It won't happen. But I think, look, I think soccer's a beautiful game. It's the world sport. The thing about soccer is it's also cultural, right? You're born into this. Mm-hmm. Even if you don't watch soccer and you just saw the World Cup that happened last year, right? Like 2 days ago was the 1 year anniversary of probably one of the greatest finals ever to be played in World Cup history between France and Argentina. Amazing. The greatest player of our lifetime, Leo Messi, and seeing all of that, it really brings in a lot of new supporters to the game, and you're seeing how it increases in here in this area. Look, I grew up. This was mostly Italian. there was no soccer, coaches here, no clinics. It was all baseball. Even though we're at Rubio's Cafe, which is pays homage to all of the Latino, Puerto Rican, Dominican baseball players that have come through here. I used to play third base. They used to call me to my good friend Ruben Diaz Jr., who's a big Yankee fan. I was like the Ecuadorian Alex Rodriguez of like Little League. And then I'd have to go out to Long Island or somewhere else to go play soccer. But now it's everywhere, right? Mm-hmm. And you're seeing it. It's awesome. People live and breathe it here. It's a great thing.
Of the fans here is spectacular.
Yeah, right?
Oh my goodness.
It doesn't matter if it's raining. They are playing their instruments. It's beautiful, the energy that they give back. But Francisco, thank God for your love of soccer, because now you're doing something even more amazing and bringing something to Queens that I would love for you to talk about.
Well, look, this is the lifelong dream of mine was always to bring a soccer team and a soccer stadium to Queens. It was something that when I first got elected to the assembly, I sat down with my chief of staff, Megan Taddeo, and I'm big on writing things down. You have to write it down and visualize it, and that's how you are able to get to where you want to get to. And we wrote down the 5 major accomplishments that we wanted to do before we could say we hang it up and say we've done everything we wanted to do. And the last thing on that checklist of big items was a soccer stadium.
Wow.
And I would tell you there was many stops and starts to this.
That's not like just you're opening up a store or a restaurant. It's a stadium.
It's a stadium.
It's a stadium.
That's going to pour so much into the borough of Queens. Jobs.
Deal.
Everything.
Yeah.
It's big accomplishment.
Look, I didn't even have my name on letterhead. Mm-hmm. And the first letter I wrote to anybody was to the Major League Soccer Commissioner, Don Garber, who actually grew up in Queens, over in Little Neck. And I wrote to him, I said, hey, look, I know that the league is going to have an expansion team in 2013. This is back in 2010, 2011. And I said, I'd love to meet you and talk to you about bringing a franchise here to New York and blah, blah, blah. I didn't hear it. It was like crickets for like 6 months. And then, we finally get a call, and it's from the commissioner's office. They want to have me come down and meet him in their headquarters. I go down. First thing he says, he's like, let me apologize for not getting back to you. He goes, we had no idea who you were. He goes, my name literally was not on letterhead yet. I was like, the first letter I wrote, it just said New York State Assembly. Uh-huh. You didn't have anything up on your website, nothing like that. So, we became very close, and we started talking about the possibilities. New York City Football Club came in as the New York franchise that was coming here. I remembered that back during the Bloomberg era, they were looking to either do the Olympics or bring the Jets to Queens somehow, and it was falling into place there. We tried to do something at the time. Willits had many different iterations of stops and starts here, and then they went, I think, to the Bronx, and that's where I had a lovely conversation with my dear friend, the former Bronx Borough President, Ruben Diaz Jr. There's a very famous picture of the two of us, sitting down at some diner somewhere, and we had this bet going. He said, I'm taking your stadium. That's what he told me, like that. That's how.
The goes wrong. The goes.
No, he's very. I love him. I love him to death. But he was like, I'm going to bring the stadium to the Bronx. I said, that's never happening. And we bet a dish of empanadas. And I think we came out in El Diario at the time, and he almost had it. By the way, it was really almost going to the Bronx, and things just didn't fall through. Look, I never gave up. I had another team that was coming here. I saw a different vision for Willits Point. When we had this opportunity, New York City Football Club came in. They said, look, we really want to work with you. We want to be partners here. And what we decided to do was do something very historic, very different, something that's never been done nationally at all. A stadium, a sports franchise that comes in and says they're going to build this with private financing, not costing the taxpayers any money. We looked at the area in Willards Point that was, just deserted with a lot of, body shops that were there. What we said was we're going to build a brand new neighborhood. We're going to bring in 2,500 units of 100% affordable housing. As you know, the city is facing an affordable housing crisis. We're going to bring in a brand new school, a hotel. They agreed to do the stadium, 100% union labor. It's going to be 14,000 union jobs, right? Over 1,500 permanent jobs that are going to be there. What we're creating here is something that no one's ever done in 4 decades. We're building a brand new neighborhood in the city of New York and giving them the opportunity. And what we're doing is a lot of these other sports franchises that have come in here, they haven't even begun to give their community benefits yet. We're already breaking ground. We did it on Wednesday of this week with Mayor Adams, and thanks to his leadership here.
Congratulations.
We broke ground and building the first 1,100 units of affordable housing that's going to, there's this thing that we have, like, as elected officials and whatever we do, that, it's accomplishments and legacy, and, we think it's synonymous, right? But it's actually not, right? Like, one thing is an accomplishment of getting a project done, building homes for people in the neighborhood that you grew up in. That's legacy.
That's legacy.
And so, this is one of the things that I'm just really excited about. Not just having the opportunity to do this, but I remember as a kid playing in Flushing Meadows Corona Park, I had this dream one day, like every kid dreams of, playing for their favorite, sports team. And right now there's some 10-year-old kid that's playing, soccer in the fields in Flushing Meadows Corona Park that one day is going to be able to wear the jersey of his hometown club and be able to play professionally in the stadium in a neighborhood that he grew up in. And to open those doors, can't beat that.
The feat is going to be an amazing feat.
But it's so beautiful to see something like that come to Queens too. Queens deserves it. Look, I'm a Queens girl, born and raised in Queens, so it's definitely something so close to my heart. I want to just go back a little bit, because when you talked about you and Megan making that list, right? I love the fact that you wrote it down. And when you wrote it down in your mind, because we talk a lot, our viewers know here at Boss It Up Media, we talk a lot about inspiring others, and when you hit a point that you're working on something and it gets tough, that you don't give up. So when you wrote that down, was it reality to you, or was it just like, I'm going to write this down and hope that, because we've spoken about vision boards and kind of keeping ourselves on track and manifesting things, but when you sat down with Megan that day, if you could remember, and was it like, this is something I'm going to do, or this is something that I'm going to try?
No, this was like, we wrote a list of like what we wanted to do legislatively. It was a longer list. It was all these things. I said, man, we had to write down 5 things that are major accomplishments, big things that, like, we can leave behind for this community, and then say, like, we're calling it a day.
So you wrote it down intentional with that
Absolutely.
We're going to set out and we're going to get this done, and you got it done. I love it. Shout out to Megan too. Megan,
Megan Taddeo. Without her, I would not be where I am today. But look, I never stopped believing that we were going to bring professional soccer to Queens. And look, that project was on, it was off, and like, I always look at things, I've failed more times than I've succeeded, right? But failure to me was never the end. To me, it was the beginning of a new chapter in my life and what I had to do, and reflect on what went wrong here and how do you fix this, how do you tweak this. You don't give up, right? In politics, I'll say, like, my obituary has been written many times, but I'm still here, like, alive and well and breathing, and doing the thing that I love the most, and that's helping the community that I grew up in, the community that I live in, and hoping that I'm leaving something really positive for the next generation that's coming up.
Well, I'll tell you personally, from my opinion, you give me hope in future politicians, because I'm not going to dare go into anything that's going on in the world today as far as politics, but you truly give me hope that there are still good people with great intentions for the community. So, I mean, that achievement, applause to you, Megan, your team, because I mean, a soccer stadium is going to be such a blessing on blessings, the affordable housing, everything that comes along with it is going to impact so many people's lives.
Yeah.
So you talk about bossing it up, Francisco. You're bossing it up
No.
in many ways. Many levels.
Thank you, Don.
Yeah.
Everything about bossing it up is failing to succeed. And
Yeah.
you say plenty of times you failed, and look where you are.
Yeah.
You're a success, and you're about to leave a legacy. So it's
Thank you.
gonna be
Appreciate
incredible.
that, Ralph.
Mhm.
Yeah, look, it's a great thing. I've had a wonderful
And
opportunity.
it all started with your dad.
It all started with my dad. Yeah, and you know, for me that's always it. My dad's story is what I tell at every graduation that I go, you know, and give a speech to about education, about an immigrant story. And listen, this is what you want to leave behind for the next generation, just like what my dad did for me, and gave me great opportunities and great advice.
Legacy.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing
Dawn.
time with us.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
We're gonna go to a break, but thank you so much for being here.
Thank you,
sharing your
Don.
heart
Thank
with
you.
us.
It's been a while, and thank you to my dear friend Lisa. Thank you,
we went to
Lisa.
high school
We went to
together.
high school together. I didn't bring her embarrassing graduation photo for all of you to see, but
me?
no, I did it.
We have his.
You have mine, yes. I look totally different.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, we're gonna take a break right now, and we'll be back. Thank you.
Thank you.
No importa la temperatura, no importa la hora. Latino Mix está contigo a todas horas.
Welcome back to Boss It Up Media. We have had such a great time with Councilman Francisco Moya here. We've had a great conversation. We thank him for sharing with us. We thank you guys for watching. Please remember to follow us at Boss It Up Media on Instagram. You can also subscribe to us on our YouTube channel, also at Boss It Up Media and Latino Mix. Please go to Latino Mix. You can find our podcast there along with many others. We want to make a special thank you to them as well for their great production for every show. Shout out to Latino Mix for always doing a great job. So thank you. Remember to keep following all of our social media for other shows that we're going to have and upcoming guests. We are always looking forward to engaging you to boss it up in your lives and just keep doing what you do best. So we want to thank everybody for being here. You want to say a little something about Cafe Rubio?
Oh, well, listen, thank you for having me again. But look, thank you to the folks from Cafe Rubio here in Corona, Queens. We're over here on 98th Street and Northern Boulevard. Great food, great drinks, great ambiance. To me, this is one of my favorite places in the district in Corona. If you love baseball, if you love some really good Dominican food, this is the place to be. Thank you again for having us here.
And thank you. And make sure you follow each one of us too. Like I said, in prior shows, we want to hear from you guys. If you want to be on the show, if you're interested in sponsoring, please reach out to us. Yes. Any questions, comments, feedback. I love the calls. I think all of us have gotten calls based on our prior episodes. So we feel like you guys are enjoying it. But if you want to share other thoughts and topics that you would like to hear or people you'd like to see on the show, reach out to us and let us know. Again, the IG is Boss It Up Media. My IG is Dawn the Closer. You can reach out to me personally as well.
Thank you for being on here today, and thank you, Francisco, as well, for being here. Appreciate you. You can find me at Lisa G in the city.
And I'm Ralph Holmes NYC, and thank you for watching this episode.